Hey guys, this is Jake from Stay Fun. Today we're gonna rebuild and upgrade this smokeless fire pit. So what we've got here is a 3-foot fire ring from Tractor Supply, and we used it to make this smokeless fire pit. Now it works okay. It does make it smokeless, and I was using and have been using some pine that hadn't really dried out very much, so I got a lot of smoke from there. But things I don't like about this thing is the wall is a little bit too high, the fire is a little bit too low, so when you're sitting in a chair, you can't rest your feet comfortably on the top of the fire pit, and you can't actually see the fire very well either. Now I've tried to fix that with a grate here. This is like a burner grate for a grill, and I propped it up on a couple blocks to get the fire up a little bit higher, but it still has a little bit of trouble with the heat. So it doesn't actually radiate heat outward, it kind of goes straight up into the air, which would be okay if you weren't trying to like build a fire for heat production to enjoy the warmth in the fall or the spring. So the plan is, instead of this ring, we're gonna make it a little smaller and use this little fireball here. That comes with a little spark arrestor there. But the bowl is about 1.5 feet, 2 feet in diameter. So we'll have a smaller area. It'll obviously have a little bit higher location for the fire itself. And I can actually reduce the wall size to 2 blocks high instead of 3 blocks high. And then we'll have a much more reasonable location for our feet to sit. So here you can kind of see the design of the original pit. It's got a gap all the way around between the sidewalls and the fire ring, and then it's got gaps in the rocks all the way around to allow air in. What that does, air comes into the ring, into the chamber here, heats up, rises, goes out the holes here. Now with the fire bowl, we're not going to have this ring to be able to stop the air from causing a crosswind underneath. So instead we're going to have one hole on the outside instead of holes all the way around. That'll hopefully allow the air to come in, heat up under the bowl, and come up through the smokeless holes. Now, this is gonna be a trial, so I'm gonna drill a hole in the center here to hopefully get some airflow to the fire itself for primary combustion. It's got holes in the sides already for the legs that are supposed to be on it, but I'm gonna expand those out to about 1/2 inch, and we'll start with just those 6 for now, and hope that maybe that'll work. Now, this is a test, so it may work, it may not. Either way, you're gonna see the end result. Well, time to hula hoop. I'm just kidding, I can't hula hoop. Man, that's a good looking fire pit. That we're tearing apart. So the new bowl is a lot smaller, so I won't need quite as large of an area on the pad. So maybe I'll build it a little bit further out. Yeah, let's do that. Use that as a template. Let's place a few rocks around it. That looks like a pretty good size. Take this 1 block out. That's gonna be our air hole to get air into the area underneath the fire bowl. And the rest of it's just gonna be built up, the fire bowl on top. Let's get that finished up. That looks like a pretty good height to me. We may put the wall caps on top, I'm not sure yet. Kind of depends on how it looks. Let me get my drill out that center hole, extend or expand these to about 1/2 inch, which is what one of you guys told me in the comments of the last video. Apparently 1/2 inch is about the right size. So we'll try these at 1/2 inch, and I'm just gonna do those 6 for now. We may end up drilling more in the future, but I just don't know. And 1 in the center. Maybe 2, maybe I'll do 3 in the center. So another thing I'm using is this step bit instead of a hole saw. I'm hoping that'll be a lot easier to drill through this metal. I guess we'll find out. Let's see, where's 1/2 inch at? 1/2 inch is right there. So about halfway down is where I'm gonna stop when I'm drilling. And what happens is when you start drilling, it just steps down. See that? So that right there is a 1/2 inch hole. Now I think I'm gonna put 3 in the bottom. This does have an actual bit tip on the very front of it, so you can start a hole and then expand it. I guess I should probably clean up the backside of these holes, huh? Throwing things. That was a nice little fire grate there. And then the arrestor on top. Look at that. That looks like a fire pit. Doesn't smell like a fire pit yet. Let's fix that. Well guys, we got the holes drilled. We got the fire bowl set in place. So now we've got a 2-foot diameter fire ring instead, which will be a lot nicer because it's small. It's a lot higher up, which means we'll be able to see it. Hopefully we'll get a lot of radiant heat off of it. I do have some non-pine hardwoods over here. That'll probably help out a lot. Let's get this fire built and see how smokeless it is. Start out with some lint because it burns real easy. So if you notice, we actually have a lot of smoke coming out from underneath the bowl. And I think that's probably actually the paint of the bowl burning off, because this is the first time we're using it. I don't know what paint it was used on it, but that's what it smells like too. Probably shouldn't be smelling it right now. Check out the smoke. Can you see the smoke right there on the, it's right here on this log there? Can you see the smoke coming out in the middle of the log? It just kind of disappears. We got a little bit of the Venturi effect going on where it's actually coming out and then sliding into the bowl. It's really interesting. Of course, we got the dogs roughhousing in the background now. With this single hole down in here, I can reach in a little bit more. And I tell you what, it is hot up under there. So we may actually be able to use a few more holes around the top edges to get some better airflow to the fire. So this is working pretty well most of the time. Every now and then though, we get a lot of smoke that rolls through. And I think that might be because we're not getting enough airflow to the primary combustion of the fire itself. So we're gonna drill some more holes around the outside to provide that extra air. The underside of this bowl is very hot, so the air chamber itself is definitely warming up. It just needs a little bit more escape routes to come out towards the fire. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let this burn out, cool off, drill a few more holes, try it again later tonight. So far though, this has been a major success. So as you can see, got a little bit dark, but it's cooled off now, so I can drill a bunch of holes around this outside, and then we can try it again. So I'm pretty sure that with these extra air holes here, we'll get a little bit better combustion. So we're gonna test it out, and we'll find out right here, right now. The design of a smokeless fire pit typically resides around the secondary combustion from the hot air rising up above where the fire is, protruding into where the smoke is, and burning off the smoke. The design I've got here really doesn't follow that standard. It is designed more for the primary combustion area because I like my fire to still be visible, and I like for it to radiate heat outward. So focusing on the primary combustion still combusts a lot of the fuel, but it's inherently still gonna have a little bit of smoke. Now I will say, after sitting in front of it where it was blowing at me, it is definitely not as much smoke as a typical campfire that isn't designed like this. So I still call it a win. As a couple of viewers pointed out, there's no true smokeless pits out there, smoke-free pits. All of them just try to design it to smoke less than a typical campfire. I think I've done a pretty good job of designing that here. So far it's doing pretty well, especially with the additional air holes to help with the primary combustion. Downside to it, burns a lot more logs. Well, it's doing really well. There's just a tiny bit of smoke protruding upward, nowhere near the amount that I would expect from a typical campfire. So, definite success. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.